What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, and this is my reviewing and ranking Frank Zappa's guitar solos on the Them or Us album. Just ranking the solos compared to the other solos on that album, and then ranking this album along with the other 36 albums I've done, 37 albums I've done based on guitar solos only. So, where would Them or Us rank as just a guitar solo based album? And then I'm going to rank the solos first. After I'm done talking about each of the solos, I'll put the list on the screen, and then I'll show you the overall list of the top 38 or the 38 I've done so far in no particular order. And I will say this, I think 4 of these solos might have been at one point in my life my favorite solo for at least a month, maybe 2 months, maybe half a year, maybe a year. Ultimately, they have slipped. But like, I was obsessed with this album. I still am obsessed with this album. I think guitar solo wise, I think this is just, the solos demand to be returned to over and over again. And it's interesting because when I finally settled on my list of 5, the 2 I had at the bottom, I kind of assumed would be the 2 at the top. But the more I listened to them, like purposefully the last couple of days, I was like, yeah, it used to be my favorite, but I really have to give these props. So anyways, this list changes all the time is my point. So this is my 5 on this album ranked on August 24th, 2023. If I do it a year from now, it might change. But this is just fantastic. They're all live solos. 2 of them are from the 81 tour. 3 of them are from the 82 tour. There are other solos on this album. Dweezil, Steve Vai, both solo. I'm not ranking those or even talking about those. These are just the Frank solos. And they're all absolutely fantastic. And they don't sound live. So some of these are also from shows that have not been officially released. So the implication is, or what I can infer is, we have complete shows that sound this fantastic in the vault. That 82 box set, people. Let's get that out there. I think that's what we all want. But anyways, enough yakking. Let's get on to the solos. Yeah. Number 5, which maybe to give away a little something, like number 4, used to be one of my favorites. Oh, it's Marcuson's Chicken. Used to be one of my favorites, and mainly because I love the vamp. The vamp on this and the vamp on 5, I think are just absolutely fantastic. But I think over the years, I maybe have come to the conclusion that the solo in the vamp isn't quite as good as the top 3 solos on this list. I'm really confusing things by not naming what number 4 is, but you know it if you know the album. And I do think I'm listening to this vamp at times, and I'm distracted by whatever Phil Wackerman's doing, or I'm distracted by whatever random Phil Scott Tunis is doing. And so I lose the solo, or I wander away from the solo. Where I think the other ones, the backing tracks are so much more sparser for the most part, or definitely maybe more, I don't want to say simple, that's the wrong word, but don't seem to divert my attention away from the solo. And I kind of give the credit to the solo. And I'm thinking maybe in Marcuson's Chicken at number 5, if the solo was a little more, took a little more chances, a little more frequently, the stuff in the background wouldn't distract me. Either way, it's a fantastic solo. I'm just trying to justify why I would put this at number 5. But it's a great vamp, really high energy, really almost dun 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 dun. There's a pomposity to it, a pompousness to it, kind of braggadocious, a swagger to it that's really fun. The solo, great, high energy. This one is from 82, from a June 82 show in London. You know, it's Frank doing his sort of 82 aggressive, slightly metal tinged, kind of Steve Vai influence, just shredding. And it's just, yeah, just solid solo. I just think compared to all of the other 4, it has less little pockets throughout that are just utterly unforgettable and memorable and almost feel like pre-written in the sense that like, oh, every time I hear this song, I want to hear this solo, this part of this solo, because this is just such a great little phrase or such a great little idea. I kind of hope he drops this into every Marcuson's Chicken. Those don't exist as much in the Marcuson's Chicken as the other ones. It's number 5. It's a great solo. The other ones are just better. Number 4, the other solo on here that is such an amazing vamp, probably one of my favorite vamps in all of Frank's solo career. It is Sinister Footwear 2. This is a great screaming, great vamp, swagger, metallic, shred fest, distortion. Just this is an 82 one also, Germany 82, about 4 or 5 days after that London show. Again, it's just Frank in full 82 flight. Nothing wrong with it. Absolutely fantastic. It's always reminded me of, I think the Zombie Wolf from Overnight Sensation is a better solo, but the energy of the Sinister Footwear 2, the attack, the aggression, the moments of like shred energy, I've always compared to that Zombie Wolf solo. And I think there's a lot of similarity to like the way they attack, the way it builds, the things that go on, that sort of just like manic aggression of the solo. Just absolutely phenomenal solo. But I do think that my falling in love with it when I first got into Zappa was because of the vamp. And it was easier for me to like get into the solo and accept Frank's sort of just idiosyncrasies because that vamp was always there to kind of ride on. And now as I'm able to like put out the vamp and maybe focus it on the solo, I maybe think it is maybe a little just driven by that energy and by that attack, and then maybe the actual like things that are played are not as quite compelling as the next three on the list. Yeah, I'm feeling really guilty about all these rankings because I think all these solos are fantastic, and I think I could have put any of them at number one. But number 4 is Sinister Footwear 2. Number 3, Truck Driver Divorce. This is the Zoot Allure solo from the just really highly regarded Ritz show from the 11/17/81 tour. Show, it's not a tour, the 81 tour. Talked about the bootleg of this a couple weeks ago. Yeah, man, like it's the perfect solo. It's just like, it's absolutely fantastic. This is like, it's Zoot Allure's solo. So it's just this wide open space. It's a lot of exploring, but this is Truck Driver Divorce. It's a Zoot Allure solo from anyone at the end of Truck Driver Divorce, if I didn't explain that. I've always thought of like the Zoot Allure solos and then Truck Driver Divorce after this, in 82, 84, kind of like a floor routine or like a free skate and ice skating, though I don't watch ice skating or gymnastics. I know the concept, and it just seems in a floor routine, right? You just have all of this space to do whatever you want. And yes, I know there are like certain things that they do to try to like, earn extra points, certain kind of flips and twists and all that. But it just seems like the Zoot Allure solos are like Frank's version of a floor routine. And he's just got all this space to go wherever he wants and do all these crazy things and get really intense and draw things out and then go crazy again. And the band's going to like follow his lead, but they're not locked into any sort of like hardcore vamp or, anything that's really like maybe tying their hands a little bit. Though some of the best moments are when their hands are tied and they find ways to break free. So it works either way with a good band. But yeah, it's just one of those that like, I want to go back and listen to it again after I'm done with this album. Like this and the next two, well, the first one is just fantastic. But this is one of those like, I go back and I revisit Them or Us a lot because of this solo, because I think it has so much to offer and it's just so many different ideas and it's pretty long. And Frank's just, I think it's him and his like most challenging, but it's also 81 and 82, which is like his last true peak. Despite the highs of 84 and 88, 81 and 82 are just special tours. But anyways, number 3 would be Truck Driver Divorce. Number 2, which has probably been my favorite one for the longest period of time, if I were to rank all the times these 5 solos took the number 1 spot, it's Them or Us, which is a Black Page number 2 solo from July of 82. And this is that solo, the Black Page version, where once we get into the solo, it's like, da-dun, and Frank just goes off, da-dun, then eventually they double that, da-dun, da-dun, sometimes, and I think the very, very end of this, we finally get some loops. Frank would play some effects or add some loops or things get more chaotic. This is a pretty clean, straightforward, not too chaotic Them or Us / Black Page solo, which is why I think I'm drawn to it, because like the Black Page number 2 on stage 5, that thing is just like chaos. Like that thing just goes crazy. And it's nice to have this one where it's a little more like, a little cleaner, a little more focused, but still absolutely chaotic, absolutely crazy. Some really good sort of things are falling apart energy towards the end. That sounds like we're going to go back into Black Page number 2, which is interesting because when you know it's from Black Page number 2, as you reach the end, you can almost feel it's going back to that that really fast part. And it feels like it's going to go back in at one point, but then there's like another minute of Frank soloing kind of intensely. So it's almost like this, we're going to lull you into thinking it's over and then get crazy again. But the space between those dun that space in that vamp and the way Frank fills it and the way he almost seems to like slightly recalibrate what he's doing every time that vamp drops, but not drastically, but just like slightly going off on a different angle, I think is fascinating. He has some solos where there's like a repeating vamp, but I think Advanced Romance a lot of the times, he kind of goes almost a completely different direction every time that vamp repeats. And this one, it just seems he gets to a really solid groove going where he does change direction, but it's a little bit, it's less obvious. And so it's a little more intriguing, a little more like when you realize, oh, wait, we're over here now. It's just, it feels a little bit, I don't know. It's neat. Absolutely love this solo. Them or Us, that's my number 2. And then my number 1, and I hate to say this, I really hate to admit this, because I'm not a fan of Frank Zappa's version of this song, but it's Whipping Post. I love Whipping Post. I think the Allman Brothers version, that the live Fillmore East version, one of the greatest things ever. And part of why I think that song is so fantastic is because of the energy and the flow and the way that bass, that just like propels everything from like the intro through the vocals, through the first solo, then we get more, and for their longer version of the Allman Brothers song. And then for this, we get like verse, chorus, and then we get a solo break. But Frank chooses to completely abandon the Allman Brothers energy. And in 81, when this is from the end of that winter tour, that fall tour, we get this reggae vamp. So we have this dun 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 to build up, and then we go the dun, and Frank starts soloing over that. Completely kills the momentum. Later on in the 80s, he would add a dun 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 vamp, which kind of took the momentum a little better, but still it wasn't Whipping Post. So the transition into the solo in Whipping Post always just breaks my heart. It makes me lose focus. It makes me just be like, I don't like this song. I think this is the one song where sort of the over proficiency and over rehearsal quality and over like perfection of Frank's 80s bands, especially as we get to like, the less guitar present bands, and we are driven by Martin or Zavad, Mars, and 82, even though Steve Vai is there. It just becomes, it loses the rawness of Whipping Post. So I don't like the song. So I'm sorry I'm going off on the song so much. But the solo is ridiculous. The solo is like near perfect. The solo is Frank at his like absolutely like absolute best. Like he is just like, it is all out there. It is absolute perfection. The attack of the entire song, the fact that he makes you completely forget the fact that there's this horrible reggae vamp over which he's soloing over. You don't care because Frank is just obliterating the landscape. There's a complete fake ending where you think the song's about to end, and then Frank once again goes crazy again. You hear Tunis kind of coming in with his bass doing that, like we're going to go back into it like the Allman Brothers do. Though when we do go back into it, you can hear a little bit of cut. Like I don't think the solo is over in the live one. It feels like got a little bit snipped there, but doesn't matter because this is just Frank at his pure attacking, doing the Allman Brothers, doing Dwayne, doing Dickie, do all of the guitars throughout the years, just doing them justice in the Frank Zappa sort of way. And I used to never finish listening to this album because I don't like Whipping Post and it's the last song on the album. But then I don't know, like 10 years ago or something, I was driving home and I decided to listen to the whole thing. And the solo, I was like, wait a minute. Have I really been skipping this solo all these years? Because this is one of the most fantastic solos. And there was this middle part where he is just like blurred. He is playing so fast and so frantically. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's an absolutely exhilarating solo, and I do not like his version of this song. So yeah. All right, it's been a long time talking about 5 solos. That's what they look like in writing. There they are. And then where would I rank this album among the other 37 I've done? Well, I'm putting it all the way up there at number 5. Yeah, because Joe's Garage is fantastic and has On the Bus, which is untouchable. You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore Volume 2 has like 3 absolutely perfect solos. One Shot Deal doesn't have any bad solos, so he does nothing to weigh down the average. And A Token of His Extreme is just Summer Fall 74 Zappa. And what is better than Summer Fall 74 Zappa guitar wise? I'm not sure anything is. I think his guitar playing is better on better tours, but the overall experience and the band and the vibe, nah, man. Summer Fall 74. But anyways, yeah, I would put it in number 5, Them or Us. Though those top ones, that's some good competition. Looking that we got a lot of 80s, late 70s, early 80s stuff in the top 10. That's pretty interesting. All right, kind of all over the map with this guitar solo on there. All right, anyways, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. Let me know your ranking of the solos. Love to see what other people think. Again, you put anything in number 1, and I agree, man. These are all just absolutely fantastic solos. But I do think that Whipping Post is surprisingly perfect. But anyways, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and go listen to this Whipping Post, people. Yeah, suffer through his just soulless. Bobby Martin can sing his butt off, but whatever pain caused the Allman Brothers to like make Whipping Post the absolute iconic song it is, that pain's not in Bobby Martin's voice. He's just singing his butt off because he's a great singer. And I feel that lack of pain, or I don't feel that lack of pain. You know, I don't feel the pain, which is the problem. All right, I'm done yakking. Thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.